Good evening. My name is Kenneth Kowalczyk. This is going to be part 2 in a series of videos that I'm going to create documenting portions of my family's Article 78 proceeding that is currently against the town of Guilford in Shenango County over the High Bridge Wind project. The town of Guilford Code of Ethics violation that, in my opinion, the Town Supervisor George Seneck is in violation of by not recusing himself as part of the High Bridge Wind project. So the purpose of the video, the part 2 video, is going to be to discuss local law number 2 of 1970, which adopted the town of Guilford Code of Ethics. First, I'd like to start with the town of Guilford Code of Ethics. George Seneck, in my opinion, should have recused himself and not been involved with any part of the comprehensive plan update, the seeker review, and the adoption of the renewable energy local law that occurred in 2019 in the town of Guilford. So I want to first start with Section 4 of the town of Guilford Code of Ethics. So I have the actual signed copy that was downloaded from the Town of Guilford website. So this is the actual signed copy dated September 17th, 1970. Local law number 2. The first section is related to Section 4, the standards of conduct, which reads, every town employee shall be subject to and abide by the following standards of conduct. So if you go to Section 4D, he shall not engage in any transaction as representative or agent of the town with any business entity in which he has a direct or indirect financial interest that might reasonably tend to conflict with the proper discharge of his official duties. George Seneck has an indirect financial interest in the High Bridge Wind project, in that his brother, Peter Seneck, is married to Linda Albright Seneck. Linda Albright Seneck signed a memorandum of lease and easement agreement with High Bridge Wind LLC back in May of 2018. So from that moment, from May, I think it was May 13th of 2018, George Seneck should have recused himself from anything involving this project from the date that agreement was signed. Linda Seneck, through 2 tax parcels, leased 214.95 acres of land. So let's just round that up. We're going to call it 215 acres of land was leased to High Bridge Wind LLC. Peter Seneck is married to Linda Seneck. Peter Seneck is George Seneck's brother. That's why there's a violation, in my opinion, of Section 4D of local law number 2, because George Seneck has an indirect financial interest in the project through his brother and his sister-in-law. That's pretty cut and dry, in my opinion. Section 4E, he shall not by his conduct give reasonable basis for the impression that any person can improperly influence him or unduly enjoy his favor in the performance of his official duties, or that he is affected by the kinship, rank, position, or influence of any party or person. The fact that he did not recuse himself and stayed involved with this project is a clear basis of a bias because of that, which is what Section 4D is really getting to. He shall not by his conduct give a reasonable basis for the impression that any person can improperly influence him. Well, when you've got 215 acres of land that your family seeks to reap a substantial economic benefit from, I think that's an improperly influence on him in his performance of his official duties. I think that, again, that's a pretty cut and dry argument to make on why the town's code of ethics requires somebody to recuse himself in situations like this. Section 4F, he shall not invest or hold any investment directly or indirectly in any financial, business, commercial, or other private transaction which creates a conflict of interest in his official duties. But I included that just because of the fact that his family, the Seneck family, over a 20-year period is going to receive a lot of money from Highbridge Wind LLC, now Northland Power. Section 4G, he shall endeavor to pursue a course of conduct which will not raise suspicion among the public that he is likely to be engaged in acts that are a violation of his trust. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm very suspicious of the fact that he did not recuse himself after his brother and his sister-in-law signed a lease. That raises my suspicion. Does it raise your suspicion that the town supervisor may have been unduly influenced because he did not recuse himself? That gets to the heart of 4G. Section 4K, he shall not directly or indirectly solicit any gift or accept or receive any gift of a value of $25 or more, whether in the form of money, services, loan, travel, entertainment, hospitality, things of promise, or any other form, under circumstances in which it could be reasonably inferred that the gift was intended to influence him, or could reasonably be expected to influence him in the performance of his official duties, or was intended as a reward for any official action on his part. Again, the key here is he shall not directly or indirectly solicit any gift. I think there's a nexus that could be made between the fact that his brother and sister-in-law signed a lease. That's an indirect gift, in my opinion. And I think it could be reasonably inferred that the gift was intended to influence him based on the town supervisor's actions through the entire process, between the comprehensive plan update, the seeker review, and adoption of the local law. When you look at not only the town supervisor's actions. So you've got these 5 violations that I just outlined in the Standard of Conducts, Section 4, Local Law Number 2 of 1970, that I believe are strong arguments on why George Seneck, the town supervisor of Guilford, should have recused himself. Now I'm going to end on this note regarding the Code of Ethics. That's Section 6. This is the violation section. It states, in addition to any penalty contained in any other provision of law, any person who shall knowingly and intentionally violate any of the provisions of this local law may be fined, suspended, or removed from office or employment, as the case may be, in the manner provided by law. So I think with those 5 potential violations of the Code of Ethics, I think that definitely rises to the level of warranting the removal from office.
Thank you for watching part 2 in the series. I hope you found it educational. Coming soon will be part 3, where I will cover the complaint that I filed with the New York State Attorney General's office related to the Code of Conduct Agreement that was executed between Highbridge Wind LLC and the New York State Attorney General's office.